Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. So today I have filmed for you a New Year's Eve glam tutorial. I decided that for this tutorial I would use my favourite palette of 2018, which has got to be the Huda Nude palette that she brought out just recently actually. It was probably one of her last releases and I am obsessed with it. So I have used just that palette alone for the eyes. I feel like it makes it so much easier when all of the eyeshadows come from one palette, so that's exactly what I've done. So if you want to see how I created this New Year's Eve glam look, then please keep watching. Okay, so before I started, I prepped my face with the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Moisturiser, and I also use the MAC Prep and Prime base. I really like this one. I feel like it helps to give my skin like a really smooth appearance, so I rate that one a lot. So I filled in my eyebrows and I have just concealed around the edges of the brow. So to start the eye makeup, I'm just going to use a little bit more of the concealer that I've got underneath my eyebrows. This is from this MAC palette here. This is the Pro Conceal and Correct palette in medium. I'm going to use this colour here just to add a little bit more of concealer onto my eyelid before I blend it out and then set the base to start the eye makeup. So as you can see, I'm just literally covering it over my eyelid a little bit roughly. I'm using the same flat brush that I used to clean up my eyebrow with, and then I'm going to get a fluffy blending brush. This one is a blank canvas E26 brush, and I'm just going to buff out the concealer all over my eyelid. Okay, so now I have buffed out all of the concealer, I'm just going to apply one of my shadow shields on here, because as you can see, we're going for a bit of a shadow flick. So these come in very, very handy. So they look like this. I'm just going to take the back off. Instead of applying it underneath my whole eye, I'm actually just going to use the tail end of it and just stick it just to the edge like this. This is only just because since using them, I actually find this a lot more comfortable than having it under my eye. I think when it's under my eye, it just kind of, I don't know, I can't do my makeup properly because it's irritating me. Whereas this does exactly the same job. It just, sits slightly differently. Okay, so to start off with, I am just going to cover the whole base of my eye in this colour down here. So it's actually the top of the palette, but on here, it is the whitish colour. And the colour of that is Bare. So I'm using a fluffy brush. This is one of the Unicorn Cosmetics ones. I absolutely love the way these brushes look. I'm literally just going to cover the entire of my lid. So because this colour is quite a pale colour, you don't have to be super precise, but I am going to bring that product literally all the way up to my brow bone, because it's lighter, it also adds like a bit of a highlight as well, which is good. So once you have your base colour on, I'm then just going to grab a little small flat brush. This one looks like this. This is another Unicorn Cosmetics brush. This one comes from a set. I'll link them below. But you basically just want something that's got a small little flat brush on it. And then using, I've got eyeshadow over it. Using the colour Tickle from the Huda palette, I'm basically just going to press loads of product onto my lid. You don't have to be super precise when you're doing this because we are going to buff the colour out to start with. Once we start to buff the colour out, you'll see that it takes a few rounds of applying the eyeshadow to get a really good colour, but it's good to just start off with the base so you can get the colour to buff it out. Using a Morphe 411 brush here, M411, and I'm just going to start to blend the product outwards. And this is where the shadow shield just comes into handy. You know, you don't have to be precise with the edge of your eye, but you end up with a really nice precise line, so they really are an absolute godsend. And as you can see what I mean, the product kind of lifts away from the actual eyelid area, but we'll go back in once we've buffed it out and add some more product to the lid. Just brushing the colour all the way into my crease, all the way around the eye, and then bringing it upwards towards the tail end of my eyebrow. So like I said, we want to go back and add some more colour to the eyelid, so using the same colour Tickle. I'm just going to get the same brush and some Max Fix Plus. I'm going to spray my brush so it's wet, and then I'm going to pick up some product. I feel like this helps to really get the eyeshadow to stick onto the eyelid. I also want to bring a little bit more of the product just to the eyeshadow shield here, just so I've got some product to wing out along that shield. So once I put a little bit more on, I'm gonna go, I've just dropped something. I'm gonna go back in with the Morphe blending brush and blend it out a little bit, but staying mainly on the crease and the upper part of the eyelid, just so you avoid moving too much of that product around that's actually on the lid. Then, using a pencil brush, I'm going to pick up some more of that Bare colour, so the real kind of whitey one in here. And then I'm just going to focus this into the corner of my eye. So I just want to lighten that up a little bit. I'm also doing the white just so it helps to get that kind of like ombre from the corner of your eye outwards, like we've got on this side. Just having a slightly lighter inside helps to do that, and also I just prefer having a bit of a lighter corner of my eye because it just makes the makeup look brighter and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so next step and the final step for this makeup look is honestly it's a really simple one, and I love that it is only 3 different colours, or 3 different products I should say, from this palette. I'm going to use some glitter eyeshadow glue. So this is Bare Booster, this is BH Cosmetics one. I'm just going to apply a little bit of it. This is a pencil brush from Morphe, an E18. I'm just going to put a little bit on with a brush and then put it on the lid. The best thing about using a glitter glue rather than just going straight in with the glitter eyeshadow is, number one, it helps it to stay, and secondly, you can apply exactly where you want the glitter. I'm going to place the glue over everywhere that I want the glitter to sit. So once you have the glue on, I'm then going to go in with the glitter colour Infatuated from the Nude palette and just go over where we've placed the glue. I am honestly just obsessed with this glitter colour. I think it is so pretty, and it's a little bit like wild. I think I mentioned this in my last tutorial. I try to stay away from like too crazy eye looks, but I'm obsessed with glitter on an eyelid. So when I've got an excuse like New Year's Eve to do it, I'm all over it, and I love applying it as well. I find it really fun to put glitter on an eyelid. It's like being a child and just putting glitter on your pictures. It was always the most exciting part of the photo. So once you are happy with the amount of glitter on your eyelid, you could obviously probably pack on a little bit more if you wanted to, but I am pretty happy with the amount that's on my lid. Now I'm going to use this Tarte eyeliner, which I'm obsessed with because it's got a felt tip end and it's also got an actual like kohl liner end. So I'm going to start with the felt tip end and I'm just going to line along my lash line. As you can see, I'm keeping the line quite thin as I don't want a crazy thick black line, but just enough to give it a liner look. And also it helps when we come to put on the fake eyelashes. I just think having liner makes applying fake eyelashes so much easier. So I'm going to bring that felt tip all the way over to the corner and sort of start to follow it up the shadow shield, and then just using the kohl end, I'm gonna go in with some of the product and build up the wing slightly, and then using a pencil brush, I'm just gonna buff the liner a little bit as I don't want it to be really kind of thick and defined. I just want to blend it out a little bit. And then once you've buffed it out, you can just take the shield off, like so. And as you can see, you've got a perfect little shadow line and a winged liner, which was done so easily. There was 0 stress with that liner because you had this on. And then just using a makeup wipe, I'm just gonna clean underneath my eye and just get rid of any excess product or any glitter that might have dropped down while I was doing that. So now the eyes are done, I'm going to move on to foundation. So for this look, I'm going to use a mixture of the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. This colour is 3.3. I'm going to apply a little bit of this using a foundation brush. This foundation is actually really nice on its own if you're going for kind of like a light daytime look, but because we're going for a party glam, I'm going to mix it with the fake tan on my face is so patchy. I really need to get rid of it. Then yeah, I'm going to mix it with a bit of the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation, just because that one is just, I can't go past that for party makeup. It is just the most amazing coverage ever. And then using a damp beauty blender, I'm just going to blend that foundation in. So as you can see, the coverage of this foundation on its own is amazing. It's such a good coverage, but especially for like a dewy day look. But as I said, we're going for party glam, so I'm going to use my Hourglass foundation. The colour of this one is golden, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that foundation on my cheeks. So the colours are quite similar. It's just the coverage that's different, really. So now we're going to move on to contour, and as always I'm using my MAC Studio Fix concealer in the colour NC50. So I'm just going to place this on my face and then buff it out. To buff this out, I'm using the Blank Canvas F22 brush. Also just going to bring the product up along my hairline as well. And then grabbing my beauty blender, as always, just going to go back over my face just to make sure that everything is blended to perfection. So now we are all nice and blended. I'm going to go in with my concealer highlight. I am using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Ginger and Honey. I'm going to mix the two colours together. I have honestly become obsessed with this concealer combo since Makeup by Ariel's masterclass. It's absolutely amazing. It's just the perfect colour for a cream highlight. I'm going to apply this to my face with, this is like a double-ended concealer brush. This one is a Plush Brush 101, but any kind of like smaller flat round brush will do. So just mix those two colours on the back of my hand, and then I'm just going to apply them to underneath my eye. And as always, I'm focusing the majority of the product towards the middle of my face because we'll blend it outwards slightly, but most of the product I want in the centre. And then I'm just going to apply a little bit of it there and some on my chin and a bit around my nose. And then using a fresh damp beauty blender, I'm going to blend that out. So now that that is blended in, I'm going to set my face with the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I'm just going to use one of the beauty blenders to set it with. So now I have set my face with the translucent powder. I'm just going to set my under eyes, and for this I'm using the Ben Nye translucent powder in Fair, and I'm going to use a slightly smaller beauty blender to set this with. So now you've set everything on your face, I'm going to go in and bake. I'm going to start off with the under eye powder. So using the same little blender that we're using, I'm just going to get a little bit more product onto it and then set it and leave it to bake. Probably popped a little bit more powder underneath the eyes than I would normally, but just because it's a party look, we want to add that extra little bit of glam. And then going back in with the translucent Laura Mercier powder, I'm using a triangle sponge, and then I'm going to bake my cheeks. This baking technique, ever since I watched the Makeup by Ariel masterclass, has just changed my life, honestly. It just makes your makeup look so amazing, and it also helps your contour to just look really nice and natural. I'm just obsessed with it. And then I'm just going to bake the centre of my nose using the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. So depending on how much time you have, you could leave this on for like a good amount of time to bake. But obviously I want to film this tutorial. So I'm going to get rid of the powder underneath my eyes so that I can do the rest of my eye look while I leave my cheeks and stuff to bake a little bit more. But if you've got time, maybe leave the under eye powder on for just a little bit longer, I would say. I'm just going to take that off so I can finish the eye look. The brush I'm using, by the way, to remove this powder is a Blank Canvas Cosmetics F15 brush. This powder is so amazing though. I mean, I barely had that on my face and I just already look so bright. So for the under eye, I'm just going to use a little bit more of that Tickle colour and a tapered pencil brush, and I'm just going to basically smoke out the lash line using that colour. And then when you get to the winged area, I'm going to just kind of flick it upwards so that everything sort of blends together. So I've just done the same thing to the other eye, and I've applied a layer of mascara before we put our lashes on. So for this look, I'm going to use the Unicorn Cosmetics lashes in Robot Life. So these lashes aren't too thick, but they're nice and wispy, quite long. I didn't want the lashes to be too thick to kind of take over the eyeshadow look. So something like these lashes are perfect because they're a nice amount of wispiness, and also these look really good with mascara over the top of them, which is good. Okay, so I have just put those lashes on. So as you can see, they're not too crazy, but they're really nice and long and fluffy. I am just going to apply a coat of mascara over the top of them, just to blend them in with my own natural lashes. And then the next step for the eye look is just to apply some mascara to the bottom lashes. The mascara I'm using, by the way, is a Motives one, but literally any mascara will do the trick. So now I'm going to apply some highlighter to my face. I'm using a pencil brush here, and I'm using the Becca Cosmetics Prosecco Pop highlighter. I'm gonna apply some to my brow bone. And then using my highlighter brush from Sephora, this is the Pro Highlight one, I'm gonna apply some above my eyebrows. And seeing as it is New Year's Eve, I'm gonna do some cheek highlight because it's gotta be done, it's New Year's. We are not starting 2019 without a completely popping highlight, it's just not happening. So I'm just gonna put some on my cheeks. So just before we take the baking powder off, I'm just gonna contour my nose. I'm using a little fluffy brush here. This is a blank canvas, E25, and some NARS Laguna bronzer. I'm just gonna go down the edge of my nose. Okay, so now that is done, I'm just gonna take off all the powder that is on my face. And then just before I move on to bronzer, I'm just gonna highlight the end of my nose and the middle of it. Also, while I'm here, going to do my inner corner eye highlight. Now, I always feel that the heavier the eye, the paler it makes your face look. I just feel like it's just what happens whenever you do a kind of heavy eye makeup. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to bronze up my face a little bit. So I'm using this Spectrum C07 brush. I love this one because of the shape of it. It's just a really good kind of like round shape. Perfect for bronzer. And then I'm going to use my NARS Laguna bronzer, and I'm going to, oh, the colour of my camera I feel like has changed. There's something is going on here. Yeah, and then I'm going to add some bronzer to my face. So just before the lips, I'm going to set my face. I'm going to use the MAC Fix Plus. This one is the Pink Illuminate one. And by set, I mean literally drown my face in it because it's New Year's Eve. I need this stuff to stay on my face. I just love what MAC Fix Plus does to your makeup. Like, it just instantly makes it look. It just finishes it off perfectly. Where would we be without setting sprays? Setting sprays are just amazing, they really are. And then I'm also just gonna spray onto my cheekbones and over my eyes the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist, which again is another one that I got from Makeup by Ariel's masterclass, and I'm in love with this product. I don't care how expensive it is, it's worth every penny. So I'm gonna put that on my cheekbones. So because the eye makeup is pretty heavy in this look, especially for me, I'm just going to go with a nude lip. So I'm going to use the Morphe Sweet Tea liner, and I'm just going to line my lips. So like any time I've got liner on, I'm just going to use my finger and just buff out the edges of it. And then I'm going to apply my favourite Maybelline Superstay Matte Liquid Lipstick. This one is in colour 55 Driver. I just love the nude. This is such a good nude, this one. And then just using a flat concealer brush, this is the same one I used to clean up my eyebrows. I'm just going to go around the edge of the lips just to neaten them up a little bit. One other thing I think I might do for this makeup look, just because it is a pinky vibe anyway, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of blush. Again, I'm using the Morphe blush palette here, and I'm going to use the colour Sweet, which is this one up here. I'm going to just apply a little bit of that to the apple of my cheek. So this is the finished look. I've just gone and curled my hair. It looks crazy, but I'm kind of vibing it. It's very glam. I will link below the curlers that I used and the handle and the wand and all that kind of stuff if you're interested to know. So that basically just leaves me to say I hope that you all have a very happy new year. Make sure you stay safe whatever you are doing. This is my last upload of 2018. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next year. Bye guys.